Here we go.
Yo, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? You heard the theme music. You see these beautiful faces. We are the Let's Get Canceled podcast. I'm your boy Thommy with an H. I'm the voice of the people. I speak for y'all.
And I'm your boy, Big Tech Dog, your favorite friendly, lovable loudmouth. Hey, yo, cousin.
What up, cousin?
Season 3, baby boy.
Season 3 is here, man. You ready?
Oh, I'm ready. Let's get
canceled. Well, on tonight's episode, you may have heard some additions to our theme music. That's not going to be something that is an everyday occurrence, but when there are certain topics that are being broached, we will have something appropriate. And on this evening's episode, we've got one story. We've got one story that is in multiple parts, and we're just speaking on the dark side of the church tonight. So that's going to be where we are going to go. There have been some goings on, as they say, over the last few, I'll say the last few months, maybe a few years now, that have gone on. And something just broke in my hometown. Something broke in your hometown a few months back. So we're gonna speak on it. We are gonna speak on it. We will be respectful of the people, but again, this is a topic that is a truth that we must discuss from the church. But before we get into that,
yes, sir.
We do want to say thank you all for joining us again for season 3. Now we did do a kickoff in our football draft on this past Saturday, so we appreciate everybody that showed up for that and everyone that was a part of that. But tonight is our official kickoff, and we got a celebration first and foremost. So, cousin,
yes, sir.
Boys home.
Boys home.
Boys home. Salute. Indeed. And if you don't know what that's about, you don't need to know what that's about. But just know, just know the boys home.
We know.
And as you see, I don't have that mic stand in front of me either, man. We really got some technology while we were away. We really got some technology while we were away. So thank you, Mrs. with an H, for hooking us up with that also.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so cousin,
man.
we have decided that as church boys, we are going to lean a little heavier into what we grew up in and what we deal with and what we know a little bit more so than what we had been doing. Now we're still going to speak on topics of the day. We are still going to make sure that we entertain, but in this series of this dark side, we've got some discussing that we want to do, and I will say we will take into account relationships. However, I was told if relationships have to die on truth, let them die.
True. We did our due diligence, right? We spoke to people because, all right, let's just put this out on the table. These situations are close to us.
Close, really close.
And
really
when
close.
I say close, I'm not talking about we know this person or we know that person who knows this person who knows. No. Close.
You're right. Right.
Extremely close. So
these are family, friends. These are close friends. These are co-workers of people. Like these are people that we can touch and that know us and that we know them. So a lot of these, not all of them, but a lot of these situations are.
So the first thing I gotta say, and this is what tripped me out. I was not familiar with the Pastor Simmons situation.
Okay,
now,
right.
The reason we can say that one is because that was the intro music.
Right, that's
everybody. This was some time ago.
Right. Well, this was some years. This was a couple years back.
Right. So
things were happening.
Please enlighten me. I just
So to give you a little backstory on that, there was a pastor around my city that had been.
What city was that?
Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay, I'm gonna be. And look, y'all, all the specifics I can get, I'm gonna get because I've been told to bridle and make sure that we don't.
Again, we are here to report some news. We're not here to break news. We're here to report. So Tallahassee, Florida is where I'm from, and some years back there was a situation that became national news. That's where that song came from, and I will give those 3 clap to those young men that came up with that. They came up with that really quick,
Genius.
really quickly. But yeah, there was a pastor there that was in a relationship with one of the church members. The church member's husband came home. Yeah, watch it.
Went down the wrong pipe.
Yeah, but the church member's husband came home and caught them in prayer and decided he wanted to get his weapon.
Hey,
and
stop
exercise
that. What you're not gonna do is call that prayer. Just because they was calling on Jesus don't mean it was prayer.
But he decided he was gonna exercise that demon, and as the song said, jumping out the window. So Pastor had to get missing, and as the report shows, he was a little bit without clothes during that time that he had to jump out that window, as he was gonna probably end up meeting Jesus.
You being real political. Like, this man was boning somebody's wife. He the pastor, he boned one of the members' wives at the house in the middle of the day. And Deke came home and found him mid coitus with his old lady. And Pastor say, yeah, I'm out this joint. And out the window, bucket naked.
So in all his
Indeed. What's funny about that is that remind me, like, the video you sent me with this song. Like, I'm not lying to y'all. I've never heard this before today. I had never heard it before today. It was
you did your research.
But I did my research. And the video that he sent me, of this song, it was the scene in Friday when Bernie Mac is like, Miss Parker, Miss Parker. And when he started running from the little,
we were just playing. We were just playing. Yeah. This, I'm telling you, life imitated art in that particular moment. And again, this went around the city for a while, and allegedly there had been multiple occurrences of this going down. But again, this is the one time that he got caught, and there was some backlash that came from that. And but the young lady did not get the grace that she deserved.
What you mean?
The people in the city, in the church, they did not embrace this young lady during this time of her being taken advantage of. What they did was rallied around the man of God and saying that she took advantage of him, because there is a hierarchy here. There is a responsibility to the man of God to do better.
I agree with that.
No matter the temptation that is placed in front of him. I understand you're still only a man, but the people of the church will not give that sort of grace to the woman in this situation, but still protect and give that grace to the man of God in that situation. I don't feel that. I don't like it. I did not find that as a godly thing to do, because this man, there are things that men are in control of, and your stick you got to put your stick in. She can open it up all she wants to, but you got to put it in.
Sir.
Mm-hmm.
I will appreciate what you're trying to do. I don't agree with that at all. Look, I'm not saying they should have rallied around the preacher. Mm-hmm. I'm saying she didn't deserve no grace. Like, he didn't either. Because let me tell you something. Like,
if we're giving grace, I think that grace goes to her side well before it comes to the pastor.
By who?
By everybody.
No.
Because
all right. I can't. I don't like imagining myself in these situations. So, mm-hmm. but because I started getting mad for no reason. You know what I'm saying? But in all reality, if I had to be in the deacon's situation, right, and mm-hmm. if I was in his shoes, first of all, he wouldn't have made it out that window. Cacao! I'm just saying. But grace, you had to plan. You had to rendezvous. This ain't a chance meeting. We happen to be at the same place and things just got out of hand. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You had to plan to be at the house when you thought I was going to be at work, there was like a sick child or something like that was at home or something that she
At
was supposed to
school
be there with.
that had to be picked up.
But yeah, okay. And it's like, yo, come on, bro. Like, you
We
think I'm
can't
gonna be
find mom
mad?
because she's in there with Rip.
Right. And her mouth is full, so she can't talk on the phone. So so that's what I'm talking about. But you know what? I don't want to get too far off into that because that's married whores are not our prime topic tonight.
No, but again, the what is a part of this story is this man of God, and I feel in a position of power. As the head of the church, you are in a position of power. And just like on a job, you can't have the boss sleeping with an underling because there is that power dynamic. Just like a college professor can't screw one of their students because there is a difference in power dynamic. So same things apply in my eyes to a pastor and a lay member in the church. There is a power dynamic that, again, you have put yourself in over this woman, and there's no telling what was said to convince her to do what she needed, what he intended for her to do. There's no telling what he said to her. So there's no, again, you're not giving any grace to this young lady.
No, it's not even that. It's just that I refuse.
Once again, you hate the ladies. You just hate the ladies, dude. And we start in season 3 out just like we in every other season.
Hey, listen, Dennis said it best. Giving grace to premeditated adultery don't make sense, and it don't. Because this is the thing. We're talking about this. Why is everybody's default that he had to have done something to convince her to be the whore that she is?
Because he is the man in the position of power. There's always the power dynamic.
What power?
And it always goes to that. He is the man
power
of God.
At her house. What power at her house?
That's where he decided to come pray.
You know what power was? You know what that was? That was power strokes, maybe.
He plugged in. He plugged in for the power. He plugged in. And again, he got to do better. He's got to do better. He's got to do better.
And if I was him, if I was the deacon, I would have just literally, I would have let off as many shots as my magazine hold, and we all know 15 in the clip and 1 in the hole. You understand? That's how it goes. And I would have stood over him, and as the police walked up, they'd be like, "What did you do?" And I would have just simply,
if he dies, he dies.
If he dies, he dies. That's what it is. You understand what I'm saying? So I fully understand what you're trying to say. I fully understand, because there are situations, and we're going to get into that a little bit in this episode, where people in positions of authority or power, we put them up here, and we'll do whatever because we feel like if it's coming from them, it's the right thing to do. However, that's different than sister so-and-so and elder so-and-so getting together and doing the so-and-so, and both of them are married. Because that's not sister and elder, sister and brother. That is pastor. That is head of household. No, head of your household is your husband.
Well, her church household. Sorry, wrong house. They were in the wrong house. Had they done it at the church, it would have been better for you. That's his house, the Lord's house. That's the Lord's house. That he gave this man. If he would have done it at his house, then I'd have been like, okay, look, little chick, you came all the way over there. But him going to her house, they had to coordinate. They had to make sure, good and well, everybody done had that sneaky link. I don't care if it was your significant other, and you got to listen out for the door, or you listening for whatever. Look, man, I'm married with kids. And so there's many a time when it was like, got to coordinate. Make sure that door, make sure that door don't open. You know what I'm saying? So, and we plan that. You understand what I'm saying? So it is what it is. But listen, man, that ain't what we talking about. Hey, that ain't. We gonna go on. What we discussing tonight, right? Uh-huh. We've got a few situations, and I think the broader scope of what we're talking about is the kids. And as Trick Daddy so eloquently said, and as Wu-Tang says all the time, we love the kids, and we for the kids. We are really for the kids. And like I tell y'all all the time, if your mamas and daddies, I'm here, I'm about them babies. Hey, make sure y'all. That is real. I don't care about your mantra. I really don't care. Absolutely your mantra. So there's a few stories, right? Yes. The first story that we heard about that I heard about was there's a pastor in my hometown. Mm-hmm.
His name is
Where you from?
I'm from the blip, man. I'm from Palaca,
The
Florida.
blip, baby.
Ah! So, and there's a preacher in Palaca, and this made national news as well. And he was arrested, released on bond, and then had the bond revoked and rearrested. I'm not quite sure if he's out right now, but and he was accused of. And remember, everything that we say tonight, nothing has been adjudicated yet, so
Correct.
everything is allegedly. All right.
But
So
everything
if
is
you hear me
public
say,
record, and you can go look all of this up. So we may not give you a name.
right,
We'll give you a location and a description, but we don't have to give you a name. Go look it up if you're that interested in the gossip of it all, because that's not what
absolutely.
we're here to do for the gossip of it all. We're here again for the
No,
broader
we're here
scope
to
of
attack this
right.
actual very important topic. This pastor is a younger guy, and he's the pastor of a quick growing church in a small town. So, and he's getting notoriety outside of that small town, which brings eyeballs to that community. So he's this is what we tend to do as church people. We tend to take those type of people and we push them up, and everything they can do no wrong. Well,
Right.
he was arrested for molesting a young lady for years. And we're talking an underage, a minor young lady
For
for
years.
years. It was a shock to the community, except for the people who are around in that community, close knit, who had these inklings all the time. Now, I do know that growing up, you would hear old women in the church say things like, "Oh, she fast,"
Mm-hmm.
about some of these teenage girls. She fast.
Mm-hmm.
She quick. So my question to you, Mister with an H,
Mm-hmm.
is it fit? And I'm not. I know where you're going to fall on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both are on the side of I don't really care how fast she is.
Right.
She's a minor. You
Right.
shouldn't be anywhere near her or put any impropriety. But does that 16, 17-year-old girl bear any responsibility?
Easy answer, no.
Okay,
As
my
an
dog.
adult male, you don't put yourself in that position at all. Like I have a father that ran an organization that was children,
Right.
and there would never be a situation where anyone could say that anything inappropriate happened, because there was always someone else around. So there's never going to be a one-on-one. I remember an instance. We were at church one day, and one of the younger girls at church, at my father's church, when we were coming up. So I'm maybe 16, 17 years old. I had my car. I was headed to the store. One of the little girls like, "Hey, I want to ride to the store also." She was maybe like 8, 9. So I'm like thinking, just a little baby. It's one of my little homegirl. Yeah, I can take her. Pop stopped me on my way out. What you doing? I was like, "We're just gonna run to the store right quick. Come here. Take this one with you. Take your sister with you. Take one
Right.
of take these people with you." So it was always and I at the moment I didn't get it, because in my head there's nothing that's gonna happen here. Like this, but when he finally came back and told me, he was like, "You don't want it to look a certain way. You don't want her to
Say
say
that.
something happened that, even if it didn't happen, it's a stain on you. It's a look at you. So there's always got to be a buffer of some sort." So from
Right.
that point on, it's like, if there's going to be me and anything, like, yeah, we're going to always have some sort of a buffer there, that it's not that if it's not my family, it's not happening. It's not happening, because the look of it. So again, as far as this situation goes, she can be as fast as she want to be. She can have as many peckers as she want, because again, I know some church folks are watching. My mother said she was going to be watching tonight to make sure I didn't
Hey,
overstep.
Auntie.
So hey, mom. But yeah, so she can have as many as she wants to, but when it comes to a grown man, it's always your responsibility to care for the kid. I don't care if it's your kid or not. You always care for the kid. If it's a fast little girl, you do your best to make sure she's not screwing nobody. So you definitely don't take advantage of that.
Listen, the thing is I agree with you 100%, 1,000%. At no point does, because they wouldn't be considered minors if they were able on the grand scale of things to make those decisions, and those
Right.
decisions that will affect them long term. So you are, as the adult, as the guardian for that moment, as the supervisor, as the trusted adult, you have to have the cognitive ability to be able to push that aside, regardless. I don't care, bro. Like, it does not matter. You understand what I'm saying? I have grown up. I've worked in the field of behavioral health,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a large portion of that was in behavioral health with minors. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So I'm dealing with kids of all ages, of all looks, from all different backgrounds, who all have, they could be 8 years old, they could be 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? And it does not matter. My job is to create a safe space for that kid, even if that kid is predisposed to doing things that they shouldn't do. Just because if I drink and this 16-year-old drinks, my job is, even though they're trying to be whatever, they're cool, you don't get to drink with Mr. Alvin.
Right.
That's not gonna, they can't happen.
If you're not mine, none of that happens. None of that happens.
Absolutely not. You don't belong to me.
I ain't
And
giving you.
my
I ain't
job,
giving you anything. Like I might not even sit around if your parent give it to you. I might remove myself from a situation even if your parents do
got to
it,
be out.
because
But
some
the other
things I
thing
just
was,
don't want to be around.
and the other thing is that you always set yourself up for success instead of failure. And by that I mean, there, over that time period, they couldn't say one time where I was off camera
Mm-hmm.
with somebody's kid. You understand what
Right.
I'm saying? You know
Right.
why? Because I'm not going into the room without another staff member. And not only that, if I walk into the room, that staff member comes into the doorway with me, watching me, and remains on camera the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So they're out in the camp. There were times where I knew where all the blind spots were. So you're in the doorway, and I would keep a hand out the door, like waving like this, because I think I'm in a blind spot. They might not even see my face, but you're gonna see my hands,
Right.
because
Right.
you know what I'm saying. You know
You're
good
going
well
to
I ain't do it.
understand that there is an
Right.
there is an intentionality about making sure that nothing inappropriate is even suspected.
Right, and that you would think would be the best thing to do. I tell the story sometimes, right?
It is the best thing to do. But what's
Right,
happening in these situations is that these people are intentionally taking advantage of children.
right, and that's a difference. We're not talking about something that was accidentally looked upon as bad. We're talking about people who are intentionally doing the wrong thing and taking steps to cover it up. Because in the instance that I'm talking about in Palaca, some of the evidence is text messages, cash
Mhm.
apps, notifying about cash apps, like this is what this is for. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Not any sexual favors the cash apps are for, but it's like, okay, I'm going to give you this so you can get that, and you you left a trail a mile long, showing that you're trying to cover up and trying to take care of this young lady. And from my understanding, and I could be a little off, so don't quote me directly about it,
Mhm.
but I believe that they were saying that it lasted from 14 to like 17 or 18,
Mhm.
something like that. That's a long time to be grooming a child.
And what also, from my understanding, is this was reported at some point and
Mhm.
not believed.
Right,
And
right.
it took the child getting enough wherewithal to go and say something to a parent finally, not someone that's associated with this man, but to her parent finally, before the law was involved.
And that's a sad state of affairs, because, and I think this is going to lead into the other story.
Uh-huh.
If I send my kid to the church, I should be able to, I don't, but I should be able to leave my kid unattended with the
Hmm.
people of the church, and know that even if by some wild chance somebody does something inappropriate, the other adults around,
Right.
my child should feel safe enough to go to the other adults
Right.
around and report that, and whether they believe it or not, they're going to take steps to make sure my child is safe.
Indeed. And
And
for
that
me,
didn't happen in the situation.
at all. And for me, it always comes back to the church. As a child, people would drop their children off. I don't go to church. I'm not going to church, but I'll drop my child off because they're gonna sing in the choir. They're gonna do it. So they would drop a child off for 4 hours in the afternoon and go do what they wanted to do because they believe that at this church house, my kids are going to be taken care of. Nobody's going to let anything happen or anyone's going to do anything to my child. That in this day and time does not seem to be the case anymore. And there are a lot of things that are allowed nowadays in church. And we had this discussion, I think, to start season 2. Has the church gone too far? There are certain things that are being allowed in the church now that you aren't able to safeguard the kids against certain things because you're not looking. You're letting everybody in. So now, since you're being so inclusive in an attempt to bring everybody in, you're not paying attention to what's happening. And I think that to me is a point of no matter what, you have to protect the kids. No matter what. And if someone says something, a kid says something, even if it isn't something that's proven, the adult in the room needs to be removed from the situation. Now, the other situation in Tallahassee, it is said, again, this is all things that you can look up, but there was an incident in 2020 that took place. And
well, before you get into that, tell us, what's the situation in Tallahassee? What's going on?
Situation in Tallahassee is there is a young man that is at a church. He is also at the school. He is a part of the after school and before school programs where kids are dropped off to him, and also at the church. I believe he is one of the heads of the youth department there.
Time out. Not just a part of the before and after school. He's the assistant director of the extended day program.
That's what it's called, the extended day program. Correct.
Yes, sir.
Assistant director. Yep. So he is there, start of school, end of school, and also at the church. I believe he is maybe a youth pastor or something in that vein.
Right.
There was an allegation made, and with that allegation, it seemed as nothing changed because even though there were not any charges filed in 2020, there was an allegation made, and then this last week there was an arrest made. Now again, we have no proof of anything that happened. These are all, again, allegations, but with an allegation should come some change in the church. There should come somewhere that we need to make sure that this allegation isn't even brought up any longer. We can't have
that preaching gene is on you, ain't it? That preaching gene, you preaching now. Go ahead, sir.
but we can't have that look. And there is a truth of, yes, we do need to make sure that everybody is heard. I get that sort of thing. But a truth is an allegation was made. There needs to be a change. Somewhere along the line, there needs to be a change made. So that this, until this allegation is proven false or until somebody's dead. That's it.
Hey, before you go any further, I want to show you something real quick, right? There's a scripture in the Bible, right, that says, like, and you and I have heard it a million times. If you go to church, if you're at Black church, you'd have heard it before. 1 Thessalonians 5:23, right? And the very God of peace sanctify you wholly. And I pray, God, your whole spirit and soul and body be preserved blameless until the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. We say that I've heard that scripture my entire life. It's a very familiar scripture. Funny about that, the verse directly before that, it says, abstain from all appearance of evil. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Whether you did it or you didn't do it. Whether or not it's true, everything is true, or none of it is true. It looks bad, bro.
Right.
It looks bad.
Right. And that to me is the biggest condemnation that I have is if it looked a certain way and you still allowed it to continue based on whatever your reasoning was. I really don't care what your reasoning was. If you allowed it to continue, you, in my book, you have some blame on anything that happened after that. And again, nothing happened in 2020. Nothing was charged. But then last week, they're saying something else came up that triggered an arrest.
I'm gonna do it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, man.
Mm-hmm.
And again, y'all, I'm saying this delicately because I know the people involved in the situation.
Right.
And I know them though. They know me. They can call me right now. Some of these people can
Right.
pick up the
And
phone
I'm
and
not
reach out
just
to me right
speaking on
this
the
second.
person that's accused. I'm also speaking on the church people. I know
Right.
them
And
very
so,
well. I know
here's
all
my
these people
problem.
since I was about 4 years old. I'll put it that way. And I'm 46.
Right. Right. So here's my problem, bro. My problem is that in 2020 there was an accusation.
Mm-hmm.
In 2025
Mm-hmm.
there's an arrest.
Mm-hmm.
The accusation happened in the church in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
The arrest happened based on something that happened in the church in 2025. How did you allow this person to maintain contact with minors, especially when you had the allegations in 2020? I fully believe, and I am fully a believer that Jesus saves and changes, but the Bible also told me to watch
As well
and pray.
as,
You understand what I'm
well
saying?
as,
Now,
right.
and what's really bad about this, and now I'm gonna ask you this question, and I'm gonna let you go ahead and go. The accusations for the person in Tallahassee,
Mm-hmm.
it's a male minister and school teacher, and the victim is also a male.
Correct.
My question to you: does that make this worse? Does it make it? Is it the same? Is it better? I hope not. But does it change any circumstances in your mind?
For me, the only place that it changes the circumstances with the child, because as a man, you know how hard it is for any boy, any man to say something happened to them.
Right.
So this has to be the strongest of the strong young man to come up and say something happened, because
Right.
there are guys out there right now that are basically serial killers because somebody touched them, and now I'll kill everything that moves because of something that happened to me when I was a child. So to me, I give kudos to the young man. If this is
Absolutely.
a true situation, coming forward, because again, there are young men out there who will go to their graves not exposing things that happen to them out of fear of being labeled some sort of way. Other than that, I don't care if it's a gay guy, I don't care if it's a straight guy. You prey on children. To me, that is there's no difference. There's no difference to this.
I agree, and we discussed this minimally before.
Mhm.
The way I asked the question though made me think. The reason I asked the question that way was because I think there's a lot more weight on the young man, like you said, it, outside, because all right, whether it was a male or female,
Mhm.
it's opening these children up to an aspect of human sexuality that they may or may not, probably not
Right.
ready to handle, right?
Right.
I think the weight on a young man is a little bit more because without knowing if there's an already predisposed notion towards a certain sort of sexual lifestyle, you've
Mhm.
now embedded that into this young man. No pun intended. So
That definitely went there.
I know I didn't mean it like that when I
Right.
said it. I was like, nah, it's not a joke. So I think it is a little heavier. Now, that is not to say that
But for
because
me,
it was gay, it's
just pause
worse
right
or
quick.
better.
Pause right quick there,
Yes, sir.
because I
Yes,
don't
sir.
care if the young man was down with it. I don't care if the young man wanted it.
Right. You're
To me,
absolutely right.
to me, it's basically the same there.
It's the same as if earlier when we were talking about the little quote unquote fast girls.
Right,
Like
because there's some
it
little
does
fast little
not
boys
matter.
out there too.
Yes, absolutely. And I like this right here. Pray for children. Don't prey on children. I love that.
Amen.
That's real.
Amen.
So this situation though, it's rough for me because the people involved, the accused has been in church forever. Like
Ever.
if you could be born, quote unquote saved, like they say, this would be the picture of something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like everybody just assumed, and I mean everything, singing everywhere and dancing all the time and doing all that stuff. Right now, those of us who know, we all kind of thought like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? But
and at some point it was asked and denied. So that thing, like, okay, we asked and we said no. So hey, it is what it is. So that part.
So the issue is that I think, and this is going to bring us to our broader issue. Actually, there's one more up there in your hometown.
Yeah. But what I will say, I will say this, and I'm going to bring it back to something that I was informed on. There was a convention this last week, and they said one of the pastors up there was speaking on it and saying, your kids aren't being turned out in the club, they're not being turned out in the streets, they're being turned out at the church.
Bars!
That one right. That was a bar. Because again, the churches now are letting everyone in. So now that everyone's, and not just letting them in, but giving them positions. And people now are making the church a comfortable place for everybody. And the devil in you shouldn't be comfortable sitting in my pew. So
you better get the you better get the preacher.
No,
you better preach, bro.
The devil in you shouldn't be. So if they're coming to your church faithfully and they're not trying to change that devil inside of them, and I'm not even talking about the sexual portions of it, because there's a lot of other things that go on and that is being taught at the church. So if the devil in them is not being, if it's not uncomfortable any longer, then there's probably something that needs to be changed at the higher levels of the church.
Right.
Because now, since you're bringing everybody in and everybody's staying, if everybody's staying the same, then what's the purpose of being here?
So if you mean to tell me, let me make sure I'm understanding you properly. If you're telling me that if you are leading a congregation and everybody is coming to your services that you're leading, and everybody goes home the exact same way that they came when they got there, you as the leader bear some responsibility.
Not even that they left the same way, but they were comfortable the entire time. Because you can fight the urge to do whatever and go home just like you came in there. But if you ain't squirming a little bit when preachers say something, like you've been in church and pastor say something, not even directly talking to you, but it kind of poke at you, and you like,
Yep.
And you want to go up there and swing on the nigga, but you know you can't go up there and swing on the nigga because he right.
Yeah. But here's my thing. And I asked that question for this reason. How much responsibility do you think the leaders of this particular church bear in this situation?
Now, that's a difficult question for me to answer. That's a difficult question.
I know it is. It is.
That's a difficult question for me to answer because I'm not exactly sure of what they knew for sure. What they knew for fact. Now again, I will say the fact that you are left in a position is definitely something that I hold them accountable for. That
I'm gonna put it to you like this, and I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say this flat out. If they did not know about any allegations, then the victim's parent should be locked under the prison.
Oh,
I'll tell you why I say that. Because the only way that pastor does not know that something happened involving this minister and this child is because that child didn't report it to the church, they reported it to their parents or somebody else, because there was an investigation. There was a legal investigation. So somebody involved knew, whether it was a parent, whether it was a teacher, whatever. But the parents,
but I also don't know who informed the first time, and that's the thing. I don't know who informed the first time.
I don't care
because I do not
care.
Because I do know that there are individuals who are mandatory reporters when there is something that goes on this way. So if they did not report and it ended up being someone else, but again, if they were made aware of it and they were the ones that reported it, I'm still going to hold you to it. You still must be held to account for the position.
You can't do that. I can't let it, because the parent is the person who allows that child to go to that church. the parent has to be notified of an investigation with their minor in
Mm-hmm.
their care.
Mm-hmm.
So, and unless the parent is the one being accused, the parent has to be notified. If the parent was the one being accused, the child would have been removed.
Right.
So that means the parent knew. So either this pastor knew and allowed this person to continue to serve in the same capacity,
Mm-hmm.
or a capacity where he had access to children, or two, the parent never notified the church or its leadership, and that parent should be prosecuted and placed underneath the jail. Those are the only two options.
Well, once more information
If it was option one, that pastor, those pastors bear more responsibility than anybody else, because they're responsible physically for the body of that child when they're in their care, and they're responsible for that child spiritually. And if we cannot allow our kids to be
safe
at church,
right,
and be safe, where else are we expecting them to be safe? It can't be school, right?
because we got a resource officer there in Tallahassee that just ends up arrested as well, because he's having an ongoing relationship with the minor child, and he ends up locked up and fired.
And I want you to be careful. I want you to be careful, because that's not an ongoing relationship. That's like when people say that Sally Hemings had an ongoing relationship with Thomas Jefferson. No, she didn't have an ongoing relationship. That's rape. That's okay. Statutory.
Okay. That
I'm sorry.
Story. Yeah, you're 100% correct.
I'm sorry.
But
my fault. I probably
shouldn't have said that. But there we are again with a situation where you take your child to what you consider to be a safe place, a place that you are actually you're obligated to send them. At some point, the police come and get you if you don't send them to a school.
That is real.
So now we're dealing with the church and the state. There's nowhere that we can send these children. We can't separate the church and the state now, because both of them are just culpable in allowing things to go down. And if I can't trust the police, like I understand a road coach every now and again, but them niggas just nasty. But an officer, sworn peace officer, come on, man.
So let me tell you, I'm gonna lay it out to you like this, and so because I don't know that everybody is understanding how dire the situation is. And let's say all these situations happen in the same place. So I'm a father of one child, right? Let's just say that, y'all all know I got more than one kid, but let's just say I got one kid, right? I come home, my kid gets sick at school. I come home, and the pastor is in there boning my wife. Then I'm having a rough time. I send my kid to school, and the resource officer pushing up on my kid. I've got to deal with the legal stuff with all this that's been going on. So I work late, so I have to leave my kid at the school a little bit longer. But they have the extended day program. But guess what? He gets there, he's messed around with by the person who runs the extended day. So I need some spiritual healing. So I go to church. I take my kid to church. We ingratiate ourselves in the church family, and I start to trust these people. And my kid is there, and the kid is molested at the church. Where can our kids go outside of our immediate care that is safe? That's a real question.
That to me is the broad question, and that's where this whole thing came from. It's because so many different things are happening, so many different avenues, and there's no place safe for kids now. So there was a little girl at one of the schools in Tallahassee. They check her; she got a weapon on her. She got a taser and a box cutter or something like that. Like, I kind of understand why little mama got what's going on. Like, I got to protect myself. I don't know what's going on. You got resource officers trying to take it. You got school officials trying to take it. Let me protect myself. Let me have my taser. Let me have my box cutter. Let me protect myself. I don't blame Lou. I don't blame her at all, because nowadays you're not safe. They can't keep you safe from the school shooters. They can't keep you safe from the staff. They can't keep you safe from the dudes that's praying for you. Like, right now, and I don't want this to be an indictment on the church, because again, these are people in the church. These are people in the church, and this isn't happening everywhere. It's not happening everywhere, but it's happening way too often.
It is. Thank you. And that makes it an indictment on the church. And I want to be clear. This is an indictment on the church, the same way police brutality is an indictment on policing. I don't believe that all police are evil. However, I believe that there are avenues and blind spots in the way that policing is done that allows for people who have bad intentions to be successful in their bad intentions. I believe the same thing about the church as a whole, this black church specifically, because that's all I know. When I
Right.
say
But we have already had this whole situation going with the Catholic Church, where they were preying on their altar boys, and those people were getting moved around, and we had so much to say when it was them.
But I'm not Catholic. You're right. We had so much to say when it was them.
That's why this conversation had to be said when it was us.
Right. It's on our doorstep now. We are the Let's Get Canceled podcast. And if there was a topic that was truly going to get us canceled in our personal lives, it's something like this. And the reason we decided to do it anyway is because I can't say I don't care. I do. I absolutely care. I just don't see. You've got nieces and a nephew. I've got nieces and nephews and children. I'm sorry. I need to be able to trust the people who I trust. And you can't preach to me if you like little boys. I'm sorry.
So I have an anonymous question that came in.
Okay.
If there was an allegation in 2020 with an investigation and no arrest, what should the pastor do then? Do you remove him on an allegation?
Absolutely.
Yes. I say yes.
The reason being is because if there's an allegation, out of an abundance of caution, how often do you hear that phrase? Out of an abundance of caution.
And that's all I was gonna. That's what I was gonna go with.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. You protect yourself. Even if you're not protecting the kids, protect him.
Right. Oh my God. Thank you. Like, what dude wants to stay? That's like me going. Like, if I get accused of anything, if I'm working in a place and they accuse me of stealing, guess what? I'm gonna fight to prove my innocence. And once I prove my innocence, I'm out. Because I don't want to be in an area where something like that could happen. I'm sorry.
Right. and that's the thing. Like, even in that situation, hey, if you still want me to be over something, let me be virtual. I'll do it from the house. 2020 was a COVID year. Hey, I can keep doing this from the house.
Yep.
I do. Yeah. So in that instance, yes, if it's an allegation, like I said, and I think I mentioned this earlier, until it is proven false or until somebody's dead, you're removed. You are removed, because again, I don't want this to be something that's a stain on you. So
right
in that, and I understand people are going to talk, but I would much rather them talk about something was said about you than we kept you.
It would have to be proven absolutely. And I don't know how you can do something like that. And it's unfortunate because we all know people who have been falsely accused of something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anybody off the top of my head that's of someone who's been falsely accused of child molestation.
Officers do. We allow cops to do it all the time. Officers are accused of all types of violations, civil rights violations, and all these things, and they are kept on the job because they don't lose their jobs over those sorts of things. But again, when it comes to the church and the scrutiny that's already built into the churches, there should have been some safeguards to make sure that this was not something that was that could have continued. So yeah, I think that's what's upsetting me the most about this is because I feel like, and again, hindsight is 2020. Right.
It's easy for us to armchair quarterback this thing. I've never been responsible for an entire church. I've never been responsible for a large congregation. So I can only imagine. Well, I don't have to imagine. I've seen firsthand the pressures that are on pastors and leaders in church. So I'm not saying that pastors don't make mistakes and there aren't missteps. What I am saying, though, is that it's hard for me to trust you when the misstep is of something of this caliber. Yeah. Like, that would be like saying I'm okay to keep going to this surgeon, even though I know they made a mistake yesterday and snipped the wrong artery and this person died. That child may have spiritually died. that child has been exposed to something farther than they might have been exposed to anyway. And to some degree, the responsibility for that lies at the feet of the parent and the leader. I am responsible for everything that happens to my minor children because my decisions put them in that position, right, wrong, or other.
Mhm.
Now, does that mean that I could have controlled? Not necessarily, but everything that happened, I can always look back and go, I could have just made them stay in their room and nothing would have happened. Is that the right thing to do? No. But does that also mean that my decisions affected what happened to my child? Absolutely. So,
right.
In that situation, this is what we've got.
In
so
this instance, I just hope, and it's going to be how I just hope that this allegation and this arrest turned to nothing and it was all false and this young man can get his life back. But if that is the case, just don't be around kids no more. You don't have to worry about any more allegations from kids. Stay away from them. And that for me would be, like you say, if somebody accused me of stealing, I ain't coming to go store no more. I ain't coming no more. I'm not going back there. And if there's a child that says I did something to them, at all costs, I'm staying away from children that ain't mine. If you're not family to me, I don't need to be around y'all. Because the last time I told the story, like I've seen enough of my friends get in trouble for being falsely accused of doing things to white women that I wouldn't get on an elevator with a white woman by myself for years. I would ask my doctors, hey, can you bring somebody else in the room with me? Because I was that afraid during that time that I was going to be the next one. So if I have that fear, I think it was justifiable that I had that fear also because there was so much going on. But with this situation, it's just I hope it all, because again, you are definitely innocent until proven guilty. And I saw someone post up, guilty until proven innocent. That's the way the world works these days. Nah, we ain't with that over here. I don't care, guilty or innocent. The conversation is shouldn't have been in that position. It should not have been anything that got that far to where something from 2020 can pop back up in 2025. There should have been some sort of disconnect from that this sort of thing isn't something that would even be able to be brought back up. And like you say, hindsight 2020, maybe they didn't think it that way, but for those who see these things now, think that way.
And you know what? Process. And this is I'm with you, Dennis. I understand the sentiment and I agree with you. Here's the problem. How do you vet someone who's never displayed this type of behavior before?
Right.
Now, I don't know that if that's the case for all this other stuff, but in the instance of the school resource officer who was accused, right?
They do a thorough vetting before you're an officer.
How much more vetting can you get than a school resource officer? So at this point, and if you want me, I'm not going down that road. Hey, I got some game. I know this is the new season. I got
this new season. We got some new game because we are already coming up on our hour. We've got some overtime. But before you get to the game, because I'm gonna let you finish with the game. This is going to be something that is going to be recurring. Us talking about things that happen in the church, and I think this first month, I think September, we're going to explore the dark side of the church a little bit more than we have, and then we're going to get into the fun stuff. We're going to get into I love that right there. But we're going to get into some fun stuff. We're going to get into the great things that happen in the church, the ways that you can help your local churches. But in this month, we're going to start off and we're just going to go down the rabbit hole of some things that we've seen over the years and that sort of thing. But this happened last week, so it was something that we definitely wanted to touch on, especially with it being so close to home. And like I said, I hope this does not fray any relationships because I love you guys, but this truth had to be said. And if these relationships die on truth, I got to let them die. That's on you, Doc. I'm good.
I hear you. Okay, so here's my question. Ladies and gentlemen, well, first...
He dies.
Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff that's been going on, right? I'm going to give you a little bit of game. And this is for the kids. excuse me. This is for the kids. Kids, I know a lot of things look like it's fun and you don't always know who to trust. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. You need to travel in packs and you need to keep your head on a swivel. So, what do you see in this picture? You see meerkats, right? These meerkats, if you notice in this picture, no two meerkats or three meerkats are looking in the exact same direction. They all are, they've got 360 degrees covered in the way that they're looking. Now imagine that's you and your people, you and your homies, you and those folks, right? You and your folks are together and you have made sure that you keep your head on the swivel. Hey, is that Coach Johnson coming over there? They watching you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Elder so-and-so. They watching you. Make sure you travel in the pack, right? Make sure that you get your meerkat. Matter of fact, go ahead, gang, meerkat gang. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. That's a new slogan, meerkat gang. Make sure you keep your head on the swivel. Get your friends together. Make sure that y'all are all being meerkats, looking out for one another. Now, it's funny, and I did it because it's funny. However, I want to be serious. To be 100% honest, the closest eyes are going to be the people who care about you the most. Your immediate family, I would hope, and that's a topic for another day, but sometimes that's just as bad. But your friend group, the people that you've chosen to be around and those who have chosen to be around you, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times are the people who are going to look out for you the most, who are going to speak up for you faster. Make sure that you're not trying to be a lone wolf out here, because everybody that smiles in your face and purports to be in your corner are not. And when it all boils down, this episode is not about bashing anybody. This episode is about empowering and looking out for these people who are more vulnerable than others, right? We have a lot of fun. We do it because it's fun, but in all reality, man, it is what it is. So remember, I'm going to put this up on the screen again. If you need help, call the National Sexual Assault Hotline. All right, and there be trained professionals who are there to talk to you and to let you know what, this is what you need to do. This is what you should do next. This is how you can report that. And it's there for you. All right, the National Sexual Assault Hotline is 1-800-656-4673. Again, that is 1-800-656-4673. And that's what you need to do if you're ever in trouble. And if you can't get through to anybody else, hey, Big Tech Dog and Uncle Thommy with an H, trust me, we're going to look out for you. If you're anywhere around us, we're always a listening ear and we're always here for you. So, cousin.
Your cousin.
I don't know if we got canceled on this one.
I don't know if we got canceled yet, and I hope.
I don't care.
I hope we still got some friends out there.
Yeah,
I know my mama. I know my mama love me. Hey, baby, I love you. I love you. Get back home, please.
Hey, auntie.
Hurry up.
Right. Well, we gonna do this, man. We ain't got canceled yet, so we gotta do this again next week.
We'll be back next Wednesday, and we're gonna talk some more church folk stuff, man.
Yeah, boy.
All right, man. Y'all take it easy out there, man. Y'all watch out for them kids. Love y'all. Peace.
Love you, peace.